it's Sarah here from Your Tree Shelf. Thank you for watching my channel today. Today I'm going to be doing a video about Mental Health Awareness Week. So this is the end of Mental Health Awareness Week, and I was hoping to have a video ready for earlier in the week, but I have to re-record this as I recorded one with the camera at completely the wrong height, which looked really silly. So now it's the end of the week, unfortunately, just because I've had a really busy week at work. So I see as a GP so much in the way of mental health problems. I think statistically about a third of our consultations have a mental health element to them. And that's anything from anxiety and depression to personality disorders, eating disorders, self-harm, bipolar, sometimes, rarely psychosis, schizophrenia. So a huge different range of conditions. So I wanted to discuss how we can use other things as well as the normal treatments that we use for these conditions to try and help people recover. And one of the things that I obviously want to talk about, being as this is a book channel, is talking about reading as part of self-care and self-help. So I have come across the scheme called Reading Well, which is run by the Reading Agency and is aimed at using books as a way of helping people to recover. So I'll put the links to the website in the comments down below. But how it works is they have used an evidence base. So they've looked at the NICE guidelines, which are clinical guidelines that we use to make treatment pathways for people. And they've looked at these guidelines as well as studies that have been done about self-help in particular conditions. And they've taken the views of people who have the conditions alongside professionals who are experts in the conditions, and they've come up with a reading list for things which may be helpful. So they've got a list for mental health, and they've got one for adults and they've got one for young people. They've got a list for dementia, and they've got a list for chronic health conditions like rheumatoid arthritis or diabetes and things like that. And you can basically either get the lists from the website and you can choose which books you'd like to read, and you can take the lists to the library where they can help you, or you can ask your doctor to recommend one of the books for you from the list, and then they can tick the box for you, and then you can take the book take the prescription to the library. So you don't need to involve the doctor. If you feel comfortable going onto the website and choosing the books for yourself, then that's absolutely fine. You can just go and get them like you would with any other books from the library. So I don't think this scheme is massively known about in my area, at least, and we have a really long waiting list for the treatments which are used alongside traditional medication treatments. So if somebody wants any kind of therapy or counselling, they can be waiting for a number of months before they get that. And so I think that if they could be learning about their condition and reading about how they can get help, or how they can help themselves in the meanwhile, that would be good. And there is an evidence base, like I say, behind this, that doing self-help in the form of reading is better than doing purely the traditional therapies by themselves. So that was what I wanted to highlight today. And the other thing is, as well as having books for people who have diagnosed conditions, they also have books which are books just to make you feel a bit happier, which I thought was really nice. And when I went to the library in the city where I live recently, there was a big display called Books to Make You Feel Happier, and they just had some uplifting fiction and non-fiction on the tables, which was really well displayed, so that it was obvious what the display was for, and you could just go and take those books without having to know about Reading Well or about having a reading prescription. And other things you may have seen in the libraries, there's often a self-help section, which is books for young people for mental health. So that's pretty well publicised. I know they've definitely got that area in my local library that I've seen several times. So what I thought I'd do, first of all, I wanted to actually try and raise awareness at work about the scheme. So maybe if we could get some posters and things, or put them up on the TV screen in the waiting room, so that people are aware of Reading Well and of the books that are recommended. And I also thought I would try the scheme out myself. So I wanted to choose a couple of the books off the list, and I will take the list to my library. I'll ask for help finding the books, and then I will bring the books back, read them, and leave a review of how I think the books are, because if I'm going to be recommending the books to people with the conditions, then it would be nice if I'd read at least a couple of them myself, just so I thought so that I could give them an honest feedback on how I thought that the books were. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. If there are any books about mental health or about physical health that you found particularly helpful, then I'd really like to know about them. Or if there's any aspects of self-help that you'd like to learn about, or any aspects of health that you would like me to discuss, then I'll have a think about that. So by all means, feel free to leave comments down in the comments box, and I will get to those as soon as I can. And I will be posting the video again in a few days' time. And in the meanwhile, I hope that everybody is finding enough time for some self-care this week, because it's really, really important to have some wind down time in what is very busy lives for everybody. And it really does make a difference to prioritise your own mental health, your own self-care, and have enough time being quiet, being mindful, which are things I'm sure I'll be talking about in future episodes, because I have lots of those kind of books on my TBR. So I will speak to you all soon. Bye.